Yes, Athi Mtongana, our reporter, of course, standing by for us after really a dramatic scenes around those fires in Cape Town. Earlier, you saw live images of a helicopter dropping water on a building at the University of Cape Town. We live back to her now. Athi, good afternoon. What's the latest there?
A very good afternoon to you once again, Stephen. Well, I'm immediately going to throw to the spokesperson for the City of Cape Town's fire services. Thank you so much, Jermain, for your time. Now, no one really anticipated this to begin with on a Sunday morning when this fire started. A lot of questions have been asked as to what might have started this fire. Let's begin by just talking about where it started before we talk about the cause of the fire.
Yeah, good evening to you and your viewers. Yes, this fire started at around about 8:45 this morning, and it was just above Philip Kosana Drive. We had vehicles on scene, but I think the wind just pushed it up to Rhodes Memorial, and from there it went over up to UCT side, and also, as you can see with the destruction, actually, the fire actually jumped over the road and got these structures involved.
Talking about the fire jumping across from one end to the next, of course, it literally jumped from across the road to get to damage this property behind us. There are firefighters who had to put down a fence close to the president's property. Talk to us about that particular fire line, and of course the risk of this fire doing the same thing that it did, because it did jump over. There is a fire line close to the president's property there. Won't you talk to us about how that situation is panning out?
I think we've got guys lined up there, firefighters, because we've got in excess of 150 firefighters now on scene, and that's excluding Table Mountain National Parks and working on fire crews that's assisting us. Obviously, the guys take great pride in protecting the property, and they will do their best in trying circumstances.
We saw a convoy of black security vehicles rushing out of the president's property. Are there any evacuations that have taken place since the fire broke out? I mean, we've seen there are some UCT students who had to be evacuated, but other than that, have you seen any evacuations taking place?
I haven't heard a call of any evacuations, because that will be initiated by disaster risk management, and I know they've now been activated and they all at the Goodwood Operations Center.
Now, let's talk about the potential cause of the fire. Cape Town fires are very well known during this time of the year. What might have potentially started this fire?
Well, I don't want to speculate on the cause of the fire, because that property belongs to Table Mountain National Parks, and they will obviously launch an investigation to get to the source of that fire.
And of course, it's still quite early to talk about the extent of damage, but just by looking and hearing from the guys on the ground and on the sky there, what do you think the extent of damage is?
Well, I can give you an update, say, in about an hour's time, to give you a full assessment. A full assessment has been done so that I can provide you with accurate information, because I don't want to speculate at this time. There's a lot of carnage, obviously, and destruction with dwellings that has burned down. So to get correct information, I'll have a meeting later on with the guys, and then I can provide you with information.
We haven't heard of any serious injuries from the resident side, but we've certainly seen some firefighters who were injured and were taken to hospital. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, there was one firefighter that got injured just before 2. He suffered some burn wounds and he was taken to a nearby hospital. I do believe, however, that there was a firefighter from working on fire that was also injured and was also taken to a nearby hospital.
Now, the fact that they got injured speaks to how big this fire has been throughout this morning, and how intensely they had to work there to even get to a point where they get injured. Talk to us about, like, generally how this fire is impacting the services.
Well, we've called on about 20 different fire stations that's come to assist us here. We've got in the city of Cape Town 32 fire stations. So most of those resources are now being pulled together to contain and extinguish this fire at the moment. But the residents can be safe to know that there are other fire stations that's also available to respond in the event there's another emergency occurring anywhere else in the city.
What else can you then tell us before I let you go about this fire, and certainly going into the night?
Yes, obviously the guys there will be teams working on fire teams that are working on the lines, especially in the most inaccessible areas. And I presume that the structural fires will be extinguished by that time. It will be a matter of damping down and overhauling certain areas.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. Officially, a word from the city of Cape Town talking to us about this fire. They will continue to remain on the ground to monitor all the flare-ups and all the hotspot areas where the blaze has literally been spotted in and around Cape Town. I can tell you now, at least there's not as much smoke as there was earlier on, speaking, of course, to the fact that the work that's been done by the firefighters is making a difference in trying to extinguish the blazes in and around the southern suburbs area.
Athi Mtongana, thank you. I mean, just the pictures of the devastation just behind you, the other pictures that we've seen through your reporting on this, just incredible. Thanks very much indeed for that live reporting. Well, of course, many people talking about this issue, this massive fire in the city of Cape Town. We've got some of those tweets for you coming up on your screen now. You see Amusi Maimani saying, praying for the students, the communities in the affected areas, and all of those fighting the fire. Just one person sort of sending his support to those people this afternoon. Erica Borman, if you're close to the fire, you get pulled over to get a video. Know this. Twitter doesn't need your video. Oh, Erica, you're right. Cape Town needs you to get your car home and off the roads right now. You're making it worse. I mean, I understand the temptation to get a picture, but really. And then sandparks, they're saying, look, the National Park, the Table Mountain National Park, all hikers, the Newlands Rhodes Memorial area, evacuate with immediate effect. Cars parked within those sections need to be moved as a matter of urgency. And then Kirstenbosch, that's of course the National Botanical Garden fire notice. In case you're stuck on the building, these are the numbers that you can call for help as well. So yeah, very, very difficult situation there.